The question is, guys, can broad match work on its own? So without any phrase match, without any exact match. And we're always told, don't use broad match on its own. Always use it in conjunction with exact match or use phrase and exact match. But no one ever really recommends using broad match on its own. And why? Why is that? Where does it come from? It's the same way people say don't use auto apply recommendations, which Gene and I were talking about last week. And it's the same as don't use smart campaigns, don't use single keyword ad groups anymore. And where do all these suggestions come from? Who's actually leading the line and saying, don't use all broad match, don't use auto apply, things like that? And we know, of course, common sense and things like that come into play. And, we obviously, as account managers, we want to maintain that control. This is why things like smart campaigns aren't good. This is why auto apply, what we say, isn't really good. But things like all broad match, why not? Let's test it. Let's see what happens. And that's kind of how I'm going a lot recently is let's test these things out. Let's test smart campaigns. Let's test an all broad match strategy. And that's exactly what I did with one of my clients. And I wanted to show the results and share that with you over the last month. When I audit a lot of accounts, most of the time I see that actually people just type in the keywords. They don't know about match types. They don't know about phrase. They don't know about exact match. They just type in their keywords, and of course it's going to be broad. And, obviously what Google's doing these days, they're actually pushing, if I just move myself out the way, they're pushing broad match. I think there's something like, use match types in the campaign settings now, where you can actually say, turn match types off, where you can just literally add your keywords and they will be broad match and only broad match. So Google's really pushing broad. And of course, we know historically broad spends a lot of the budget. But I wanted to share the results with you. Excuse me. I wanted to share the results with you over the last 30 days. So this is one of my client accounts. I've tried to hide as much sensitive information as possible. This is a plumber. So straight away, we know it's going to be super, super competitive. And this is based out in Australia as well. So you can see here, this is a local campaign. It's a general services campaign, but a local one at that. All the keywords are broad match. And the idea was let's just start with broad match. Let's start with cast a wide net. And then over time, we can begin to really refine the results and focus in on what's working. But this is the thing. This is what happens with broad match when you have so many broad match keywords, because, it can trigger so many different things. And this is why in recent times they're saying you only really need 2 or 3, maximum 5 broad match keywords in an account at any given time, because this is what happens. As you can see here, all the cost has been attributed to 5 keywords, and the rest have, you got a couple of keywords there that have had impressions, but the rest are actually no cost, no clicks. So this is what happens. And it's not just this account I see this happening. This happens in many accounts that I audit or manage, where I've tested broad match so many times. You'll usually see 1 or 2 keywords take the lion's share of the cost, with everything else falling by the wayside. And it's no different here. You can see that plumbing maintenance services has been the best performing keyword. It's a broad match. We've had 8 conversions, and we spent just under $300 on that for, cost per conversion. Not too bad, $37. But look at that cost per click. When you consider that this is actually in the plumbing niche, people are expected to pay like $15, $20 a click. Average CPC prices can be ridiculous. So the fact that I'm seeing this under $10 is crazy to me. And we've got a decent click-through rate, just under 6%. I don't mind that. Conversion rate is looking really, really good. But this is what can happen when you bid on broad match. So it's a really short video from me. I'm not going to sit here and say too much, but the main thing is, can broad match work in harmony together when you have 10 or 15 broad match keywords. And honestly, not really, because what usually happens is that 3, maybe 5 broad match keywords are going to take up all the impressions, are going to take up all the clicks, soak up all the costs and conversions, and then all of your other 5, 10, keywords are just not going to perform, because you don't really need that many broad match keywords to capture as much of the traffic that you need as possible. And with Google making so many advancements, can you say I think you can say advancements. With Google making so many changes to broad match in recent times, all these smart signals behind the scenes and things like that, this is why people are now turning their eye towards broad match and the benefits that it has, but also why you need to still cap it, because it can go crazy. It can still trigger for a lot of searches, a lot of high quality searches, a lot of low quality searches, informational based searches, competitor based searches. You need to cap it. So this is why I would suggest, if you're going forward, make sure you do add broad match keywords, but only add 3, maybe even 5 max broad match keywords, with the rest being exact match, because then you've got the best of both worlds. On one hand, you've got that reach, you've got that awareness, you're getting your brand name out there with broad match. You may even uncover any hidden opportunities to add search terms as keywords that you hadn't initially thought of. The other side of it is, though, make sure you're bidding on that quality. Use exact match. Have like an 80-20 split. 3 to 5 broad match keywords, maybe 12 to 15 exact match keywords, so that you're pushing more budget towards exact match, higher quality searches, lower in the funnel, people ready to convert, versus broad match, which typically is top of funnel, but in recent times you've seen results that look like this. So I just wanted to share that with you. Can broad match work as a match type strategy, just broad match? And yeah, kind of is the result, but at the same time, you need to cap it. So for me, I'm going to be making a lot of changes in this account. I'm going to be focusing now more towards exact match, but still keep 3, maybe 5 broad match and see what happens there. So yeah, any questions, guys, let us know in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time.